Planar Disruption. This is a white spell. It's an enchantment aura. 2 mana. 1 white and 1 of anything for enchant artifact, creature, or planeswalker. Enchanted permanent cannot attack or block, and its activated abilities cannot be activated. So this is basically a candle trap that you can put on planeswalkers or artifacts or creatures. I mean, this is good. 2 mana to basically render a planeswalker useless. You don't even have to remove it. I like that. I like that. Preface to Phyrexia. Phyrexia? I don't know. Phyrexia? I don't know how you say it. Blue instant, 1 island and 1 of anything for this instant. Each opponent gains a poison counter, draw a card. This is great for Commander. Not really great for Arena Standard. That would be crazy strong for Stinging Hive Master. This is a black, 3 mana, 1 black, 2 of anything for a Phyrexian Warlock that has Toxic 1 and is 3/2. When it dies, create a 1/1 colorless Might artifact creature with Toxic 1. Another Might creating thing. It's not that strong. There's better toxic stuff. Alright, what is this? The Thrill of Possibility. It's interesting. Thrill of Possibility is enthusiasm about the possibilities. I do understand Spanish. So it's a red spell. Thrill of Possibility is 1 red and 1 of anything for an instant. As an additional cast a spell, discard a card, draw 2 cards. There's your basic red, discard a card, draw 2 cards. That's in every set. Sky Scythe Devourer. Tongue Twister. 6 mana, 1 green and 5 of anything for Phyrexian Beast at 6/5 with Reach and Trample. It can't be blocked by creatures with flying. Anti-Angel deck, but I don't see much use for it. Sinew Dancer. 1 mana for a 1/1. It's a white. It's a Phyrexian Shoulder. For 3 and a white and tap it, you tap target creature. Corrupted. 1 white and tap. Tap target creature. That's not that great. Although you can tap and do a Wandering Emperor thing, but I don't think it's that strong. Mesmerizing Dose. This is a blue enchantment. 2 islands, 1 of anything for a total of 3 mana. And when Mesmerizing Dose enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature, then proliferate. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap stage. 3 mana to basically permanently tap a creature and proliferate. That's it's going to get some use. I don't think it's super strong, but you get some use. Testament Bringer. This is 4 mana for a 4/1 black creature. 1 black and 3 of anything. It's a Phyrexian Warrior. When it dies, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put 1 of those in your hand. The rest of your graveyard. This is absolute dog shit horrible. Volt Charge. 3 mana. 2 and a red. For an instant in red. It deals 3 damage to any target. Proliferate. Choose any number of permanents and or players. Then give each another counter of each of them. Oh, sorry. I'm just reading Proliferate. So, 3 mana, deal 3 damage to any target and proliferate. If proliferating's that strong, yes, but 2 mana for Lightning Strike, that's an instant to do 3 damage to any target, so I don't see it. Thirsty Roots. This is a green, 1 green sorcery. Choose 1. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, and then shuffle, or proliferate. That's a fair card. It's basic. It's just 1 mana to proliferate, I guess. Vanish into Eternity. This is a white instant. 3 mana, 1 white, and 2 of anything. This spell costs 3 more to cast if it targets a creature. So it's 6 mana if it targets a creature. Exile target non-land permanent. Okay? I mean, there's 1 mana to exile stuff in white already. Like, I don't think it's that good. I think there's better exiles. There was already a better exile in this set. Quicksilver Finisher. Okay, so 2 islands and 3 of anything. 5 mana for blue creature is ridiculous. Phyrexian Drake. It's flying 4/3. When it enters battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. This is crap. Alright. Vraska's Fall. 2 and a black. So it's 3 mana. 1 of them is a swamp. 2 of anything for an instant. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker and gains a poison counter. This is power creep. This is basically, there was always a 3 mana sacrifice a creature or planeswalker, and now it adds gains a poison counter. So that's going to go in the poison decks. That's strong. Makes them sack a creature or a planeswalker, and they gain an extra poison counter. Just gets you closer to Corrupted. Vulshok Splitter. 4 mana. 3 and a red for artifact equipment. It's 4 mana for another artifact that 2/2. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. That's... God, these equipment. Whoever designed the equipment just is like, I hate equipment. Let's make them ridiculous so nobody uses them. Titanic Growth. This is a instant for green. It's 1 green and 1 of anything for a total of 2 mana. Target creature gets +4/+4 until end of turn. That is a good one. Titanic Growth is good. That's a good instant. Worship of the Fanatic. It's 1 white for an enchantment aura with flash. Enchanted creature gains +1/+1. The flash is great. And it's got corrupted. As long as the opponent has 3 or more poison counters, enchanted creature gains an additional +1 and +0. And for, oh my god. Those mites are going to be super strong with this thing. You got to put this in your poison counter. Because it's got flash, you can attack and you can cheese it out. They think, oh yeah, I can block it. I got a 1/1. I block your 1/1. Boom. Now it's +1/+1. And that kills it. That's strong. Worship of the Fanatics. Worship of the Dross. 1 black for an instant. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Proliferate. It's not as good, but it's 1 mana, so. We're missing the blue one. They don't have the worship, the blue worship one. Hexgold Slash. 1 red for an instant. It deals 2 damage to target creature. If the creature has Toxic, it deals 4 damage to the creature instead. Okay, now this is the counter to Toxic, is this right here. We finally have a counter to Toxic. 2 damage to target creature for 1 red. If it has Toxic, it deals 4 damage. This is going to be a staple in all anti-toxic decks, which will be majority of decks. Tyrranax Atrocity. It's a 5 mana for a 4/4 green creature. 2 of them got to be green, 3 of anything. So Phyrexian Dinosaur, that's 4/4 with haste, and has Toxic 3? Oh my god. 4/4 with haste and Toxic 3? Are you kidding me? Oh my god, this is going to finish people off. Toxic is just out of control in this. We got multicolors. The multicolored planeswalkers that started out that are mythic rares. We got Nahiri, the Unforgiving. She is 4 mana. 2 of them are red or 2 of them white. Any one of them can be white or red, so it can be 2 white or 2 red. So 3 colored and 1 uncolored. Nahiri, she was good before, but never great. That's flogging as well. They call it completed, but completed. I call it flogging. You can pay, okay, so it can be 3 mana and 2 life. If life was paid, it enters with 2 fewer loyalty counters. So, okay, so it's 5 at 4 mana. At 3 mana, it's 3. Okay, so it's worth casting at 4. +1. Until the end of your next turn, up to 1 target creature attacks a player each combat if able. Okay. +1, discard a card, then draw a card. 0, exile target creature or equipment card with mana value less than Nahiri's loyalty from your graveyard. Create a token that's a copy of it. That token gains haste. Exile at the beginning and end. This is not that good. Compared to all the other ridiculously powerful planeswalkers, Nahiri's never gets love. Lukka, Bound to Ruin. Alright, so we got the same kind of situation. Red and green. 1 with a completed in both of the colors. So it's a total of 5 mana or 4 mana if you take the flogging. And then you lose 2 of the loyalty counters. 5 mana for a 5 loyalty. +1, add red and green. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells or activate abilities of creatures. Okay, just helps you cast creatures. -1, create a 3/3 green Phyrexian Beast creature token with Toxic 1. Oh, this guy's going in the Toxic decks. -4, deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures under Planeswalker, where X is the greatest power among creatures you controlled as you activated this ability. Oh my god. So you got a super strong creature out there, -4, let's say you got that 8/8 dinosaur out there, -4 deals 8 damage, however you want. This is a good planeswalker. -1 to create a 3/3 beast with Toxic 1? Yeah, that's strong. He's strong. Kaito, we got a new Kaito. This one's 4 though. The other Kaito is 3, let's see. Legendary Planeswalker. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, you may return 1 of them to its owner's hand. If you do, you may activate loyal abilities of Kaito twice this turn rather than only once. So you can attack with a really low creature, throw it back into your hand, and then redo them. That's really strong. So what are his abilities? +1, up to 1 target creature can't attack or block until your next turn. This is strong because you can basically put a halt on the enemy's best creature. +0, draw a card. Oh yeah, so you could draw 2 cards a turn if you wanted. -2, create a 2/2 colorless drone artifact creature token with Death Touch, and when it leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. I still like the other Kaito better, but the fact that you can do his abilities twice is good. And I do like this. 1 target creature can't attack or block until your next turn. There's a lot of creatures that I'd like to just be able to every turn just literally just lock them down. But I don't think he's that strong. His minus is useless. He just draws cards and he can lock down a creature. There's easier ways to do that than a 4-mana Planeswalker, let's be honest. Atraxa Grand Unifier. Okay, so this is 4 colors, 1 swamp, 1 blue, 1 white, 1 green, and 3 more? This is 7 mana and 4 of specific color for a Phyrexian Angel. This is not a Planeswalker. Legendary creature, it's a Phyrexian Angel that's a 7/7 for 7 mana that has flying, vigilance, death touch, and lifelink. Oh, wow! When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, you may put 1 card of that type in your hand. Put the rest at the bottom of your library in any order. Hello, Jodas. You just got another great card. Wow. Legendary deck right here. Every color except for red in it. This is super strong. It's 7 mana though, so it's a finisher. Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. Yeah. That's a legendary creature for the Legends deck. That's super strong. All right, Kaya. Okay, here we go. Back to Planeswalkers. This is a Orzhov colors, which I like. My favorite color combination. We've got 2 swamps, 2 plains, and 3 of anything. So that's 7 mana for a 6 loyalty Planeswalker. That's expensive, but it's hexproof. Oh, you can't kill it. Intangible Slayer. +2. Each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. Oh my god. +2? You gain 3 life. They lose 3 life? Woo. +0, you draw 2 cards and each opponent may scry 1. Fair enough. This is obviously, this comes out 7 mana, so like you need cards at that point. You draw 2 cards. If your opponent's low on life, you know, you're low on life, you got life gain. -3, exile target creature or enchantment. If it wasn't an aura, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1 white spirit creature with flying in addition to its other types. 7 mana, -3, turn 1, get rid of the strongest creature on the opponent's side. You get a white 1 spirit creature with flying that has all its abilities. Yeah, this is what 7 mana should do. This is strong as hell. I'm going to play around with this for sure. And it's only rare. It's not mythic rare. I like Kaya. That's a strong multicolored rare. Tyvar, Jubilant Brawler. This is a legendary Planeswalker for 3 mana in Golgari colors. 1 forest, 1 swamp, and 1 of anything. 3 mana for 3 loyalty. Planeswalker is fair. May activate abilities of creatures you control as those creatures had haste. Okay, so Summoning Sickness doesn't affect abilities, basically. +1, untap up to 1 target creature. So after you attack, you can plus them up and untap one of the creatures that attacked. -2, mill 3 cards. Then you may return a creature card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. This is useful in a... So, I mean, Tyvar is decent, but you gotta have small mana creatures, so... Kadeen, first Goldwarden, red-white, 1 red-white for a legendary creature, a human rebel that's 2/2. With trample, whenever he attacks, he gets +X until end of turn, where X is the number of equipped creatures you control, and then his power is 4 or greater, draw a card. This is for an equipment deck. That's the colors, white, red for the equipment decks. He's not bad, but I don't like equipment, so I don't think he's that great. I'm not gonna waste any rares on him. Malcator, Purity Overseer. Okay, this is a good Azorius colors. 1 island, 1 white, and 1 of anything. 3 mana for a Phyrexian Elephant Wizard. Why he's an Elephant Wizard, I don't know. He's 1/1, though. When he enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 colorless Golem artifact creature token. So 4 mana to create 4/4 worth of things. The beginning of your end step, if 3 or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, create a 3/3 colorless artifact creature. All right, he's artifact decks. I'm not an artifact deck player. I think they're okay, but I can see that being useful in those decks. Here we go. This is the colors I like. 1 swamp, 1 plains, 2 of anything, 4 mana for a 3/4 legendary Phyrexian Knight with Battle Cry. Whenever it attacks, each other attacking creature gets +1/+0 until the end of turn. Nice. The beginning of combat on your turn. The next time target creature would deal combat damage to 1 or more players this combat, prevent that damage. If damage is prevented this way, create that many 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature. Oh my god. This goes in a lot of the toxic decks because you pick one of your creatures that's going to do damage to the player, like a flyer or something that they're not going to block that has death touch. And it doesn't do damage, but it creates mites instead. I mean, that's pretty useful for toxics. God, the mites are going to be annoying. There's going to be so many different toxic color combination decks. It's going to be disgusting. Everyone's going to be sick of toxic after about 3 days. Ezuri, Stalker of Spears. Ezuri Stalker of Spears is a legendary creature. It is blue, 1 island, 1 blue, 1 forest green, and 2 of anything. So 4 mana for a 3/3 legendary elf warrior. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 3. If you do, proliferate twice. Whenever you proliferate, draw a card. So this goes in a proliferate deck. Green and blue have a lot of proliferation. So the Simic decks are going to be good. It's gonna help proliferation. Proliferating, adding toxic counters to your opponent. Do it twice and draw a card. But I mean, that's a lot of mana. 4 mana for a 3/3 and then 7 mana to proliferate twice. But you would draw 2 cards. So it's 7 mana for a 3/3 and draw 2 cards and proliferate twice. It still seems a little pricey. Glissa Sunslayer. This is 3 mana for a 3/3 legendary Phyrexian zombie elf. They got a lot of elves in this deck. That's cool. First Strike and Death Touch. 1 black, 1 green, and 1 of anything, by the way. This is in Golgari colors. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, choose 1. You draw a card and you lose 1 life. Destroy target enchantment. Remove up to 3 counters from target permanent. Oh, here we go. 3 counters removal. This can remove oil counters. It can't remove poison counters, though. This is strong. This is really strong. A 3/3 Death Touch with First Strike that deals combat damage and you get to draw a card. Yeah, you lose 1 life, but yeah, that's strong. Glissa Sunslayer. That's a really good card. And it's an elf. Elf players are going to be in love with this card. Venser, Corpse Puppet. 1 island and 1 swamp, 1 blue, 1 black. For a legendary creature, it's a Phyrexian zombie wizard that is 1/3 with lifelink and toxic 1. Whenever you proliferate, choose 1. If you don't control a creature named the Hollowed Sentinel, create the Hollowed Sentinel. A legendary 3/3 colorless Phyrexian golem artifact creature token. Okay? Whenever you proliferate the first time, you create a 3/3 Hollow Sentinel. And when you have this Sentinel, target artifact creature you control gains flying and lifelink until the end of the turn. So you create it on the first time you proliferate. The second time, it gains flying and lifelink. This is strong for 2 mana. Lifelink, toxic 1, 1/3. It's got a big booty on it. It still dies to cut down, so it's not ridiculous. This is a fair card, but this is going to go in a lot of toxic decks that are of those colors. Every combination of colors has toxic. Let's see if this Selesnya has toxic. This is 1 green and 1 white for a legendary human scout. That's 3/3, already amazing. 2 mana for a 3/3 creature. That's great. And as a human, goes in human's deck. If you get 1 or more poison counters, instead you get 1 poison counter, and you can't get additional poison counters this turn. Wow. This is the only way to slow down poison counters so far that I've seen. This creature right here. They can attack with 5 mites, do 5 damage to you. You get 1 poison counter instead of 5. That's big. I was hoping there was something that stopped craziness of poison counters. This also has an extra special. Exile Melira, the Living Pure. Choose another target creature or artifact. When it's put into a graveyard this turn, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So basically, they're killing one of your creatures or artifacts. You can get rid of her and bring back your big bad beast. It's a super strong card. This is one of the best cards of the set. Let me say this again. This is one of the best cards of the set. Selesnya, which is poison counters. You can play you're going to get mirror matched against poison counters a lot. You can do as many poison counters as you want against them. They can only do 1 a turn. The race is on, and it's going to take them a lot more turns. Not the best. It's one of the best cards in this set. Ovikra, Enigma Goliath. This is 7 mana, 1 red, 1 blue, and 5 of anything for a legendary Phyrexian Nightmare. That's a flying 6/6, not ridiculous. With Ward 3, pay 3 life. So it's Ward 3 and pay 3 life. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create X 1/1 red Phyrexian Goblin creature tokens, where X is the mana value of that spell. They gain haste until the end of the turn. Oh yeah. In spellcaster decks, this is a flying 6/6 to put on the board and keep casting spells and crush your opponent. This is a win con in Is It spellcasting decks. I don't think it's going to get a lot of play because 7 mana is a little high. 4 mana for Kethic, Crucible Goliath. 1 black, 1 red, and 2 of anything for a 4/4 legendary Phyrexian beast. At the beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary creature card with lesser mana value. Put it onto the battlefield, then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. What? Okay, so Grixis is already sacrifice colors. Sacrifice another creature, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-legendary creature card with lesser mana value than the creature you sacrificed. So you're going to have to build decks properly, but every end step you can sacrifice a creature and bring out a non-legendary with lesser mana. I mean, you're downgrading basically. Now that I think about it, Braids is better because you just sacrifice a crap card and draw a card. It's all right. I don't think it's going to be that strong. Miglaw's Maze Crusher. red. This is Gruul colors, 1 green, 1 red, and 1 of anything for a 3 mana for a 4/4. It's already a legendary Phyrexian beast. This is already worth it. 3 mana for a 4/4 is great. It enters the battlefield with 5 oil counters on it, so it's an oil counter deck. For 1 mana of anything, remove an oil counter. It gains vigilance and menace until the end of turn. Strong. 2. For 2 mana, you remove 2 oil counters. It gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. And for 3 mana, remove 3 oil counters from it. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. So, I mean, if you can get 3 oil counters on it every turn, it can gain vigilance and menace and +2/+2 every single turn. This is a super strong card. This is going to be really tough to deal with in Gruul aggros. It doesn't have haste, but if you cast this on turn 4 and you've got the Restless Stormseeker out there, the Restless Stormseeker can make this thing have haste, and then you can give it vigilance and menace with 1 mana. For turn 4, remove an oil counter. Turn 4, you got 1 extra mana. It's got vigilance and menace. It's strong, and you can keep repeating that every turn. This is going to be really strong. This is going to make Gruul strong. I don't know if it's going to be better than Toxic though, to be honest with you. Vivisection Evangelist. This is Orzhov, my favorite colors. We got 1 swamp, 1 white, and 3 of anything for Phyrexian Cleric, my favorite archetype clerics. It's 4/4 though for 5 mana and vigilance. It's not really that good. Corrupted, so it's in toxic decks. When it enters the battlefield and an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, destroy target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. Okay, this is strong. It's an uncommon that is not legendary. That is 5 mana for a 4/4 with vigilance. That on turn 5, you gotta hope you have 3 poison counters on your opponent, and you don't throw it out until there's 3 poison counters on your opponent. And then you throw it out and you destroy a creature or planeswalker. A 4/4 for 5 mana that destroys a creature or planeswalker, that's power. That's a scoop card. Voidwing Hybrid, black and a blue, so Dimir colors for a 2/1 flying bat. It has toxic 1. Oh, more flying creatures with toxic. Great. Tainted Observer, 3 mana. This is in Simic colors, 1 blue, 1 green, 1 of anything, 3 mana for a 2/3 flying bird. It's Phyrexian bird. Toxic 1, another flyer with toxic. Oh god. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 2 if you do proliferate. God, games are going to be so fast in the meta now. Games are going to be over turn 3, turn 4. You're just going to be, everybody's going to be scooting left and right. You're going to see cards come out and you're going to be like, I'm done. Oh, I don't have anything to block flyers. They got toxic, I'm done. Maybe it brings back control because everybody's going to be like, remove, counter, remove, counter. Who knows? Anyways, Serum-Core Chimera. This is uncommon. Is it colors red, blue, and 2 of anything? 4 mana for a 2/4 Chimera, Phyrexian Chimera, that flies. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on it, remove 3 oil counters, draw a card. Then you may discard a non-land card. When you discard a card this way, it deals 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Activate only as a sorcery. A lot of conditions on that, but I can see this being useful in the spellcaster decks. It's a little high though at the 4 mana, and you got to cast 3 spells that are non-creatures before you can make it draw a card and then discard a non-land card. Like, I don't know if it lasts on the deck, but it might be alright. It's a huge expense. 6 mana, Gruul colors, 1 forest, 1 mountain, and 4 of anything. For a Phyrexian warrior, that's a 5/5. It costs 1 less to cast for each permanent you control with an oil counter. So this could easily come out for 2 mana, 2/3 mana for a 5/5, and it's got vigilance. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each creature your opponent controls. This is going to be out of control, overpowered in oil counter decks. So toxic and oil counter decks are going to rule the meta. It's going to be trying to figure a way to counteract them. Charforger, 3 mana, 1 red, 1 black, 1 of anything for a Phyrexian beast. That's a 2/3. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 red Phyrexian goblin token. So 3 mana for a 2/3 and a 1/1. Whenever another creature or artifact he controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put an oil counter on it. Remove 3 oil counters from it. Exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. It's alright. It's not really that great. Alright. What is this centipede here? Cephalopod Sentinel. It's 1 blue, 1 white, and 2 of anything. 4 mana total for an Phyrexian squid that flies. Flying squids. I've never heard of that. Its power is equal to the number of artifacts you control, so it's an artifact deck. They're putting a lot of love for artifacts, but I don't think it's going to overdo all the toxic bullshit they got. Necrogen Rotpriest. This is in Golgari colors. It is 1 green, 1 black, and 2 of anything for 4 mana for a Phyrexian zombie cleric, so it's clerics again. Another green cleric. It's got toxic 2. It's a 1/5. Whenever a creature you control a toxic deals combat damage to a player, that player gets an additional poison counter. Oh my god, this is overpowered. All of this toxic. 1 toxic ones are 2. 2 toxics are 3. 3 toxics are now 4. Man, this is crazy. And then it's got a special. That's not enough. 1 of anything, 1 black and 1 green. Target creature control with toxic gains death touch until end of turn. Oh my god. I already don't want to play this game anymore. This is not even fun. Bladehold War-Whip. 1 white, 1 red, and 1 of anything. 3 mana for an artifact equipment, in the right colors at least. For Mirrodin, so it's got a 2/2 that it attaches to. Equip abilities you activate of other equipment cost 1 less to activate. Equipped creature has double strike. Okay, so 3 mana for a 2/2 creature that has double strike. That is good. You remove the creature though, it costs 5 mana to equip it. Equip abilities of other equipment cost 1 less. It's crap. I mean, it's good. It's good. You create a 2/2 creature with double strike, but once that gets removed, it's going to sit on the deck and never get used. Slaughter Singer. Slaughter Singer, I like that. Nice alliteration. It's 2 mana, 1 white, 1 green, in Selesnya colors for a Phyrexian Cleric. All right. There's a lot of clerics that have green this time. It's a 2/2 creature with Toxic 2. Whenever another creature you control toxic attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Oh my god, another freaking buff. Holy shit. This is going to be a staple in the game. This is going to be in every single Selesnya Toxic deck, which is going to be the strongest Toxic, I think. I think Selesnya Toxic is going to be stronger than Black, than Golgari, or than Orzhov, or than Dimir. Like, green has the craziest Toxic creatures. White has all the mites, so I think Selesnya is going to be the Toxic color. Green, white here. This is going to be the Toxic colors, and this thing is going to be a staple. This is going to be, 2 mana for a Toxic 2/2. Whenever another creature, not this creature, but another creature you control Toxic attacks, it's +1/+1 until the end of the turn. So you're not going to attack with this unless it's clear. If it's not clear, you're going to attack with every other Toxic. So all those 1/1 mites become 2/2s with this creature. This is going to be 4 of in every single Selesnya Toxic deck. You are going to get tired of saying Slaughter Singer again. So these are the colorless cards. Sword and Forge of the Frontier. 3 mana. Mythic rare equipment. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 on a protection from red and green. Okay. Sideboard card. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. You may play an additional land this turn. Equipped is 2. This is a good equipment actually. 3 mana and it's 2 mana to equip it. So 5 mana. 2/2 protection from red and green. So protection from 2 colors. That's the first good equipment. Of course, it's mythic rare. Staff of Completion. It is 3 mana for an artifact. Tap it, you pay 1 life, destroy target permanent you own. Tap it, pay 2 life, add 1 mana of any color. Tap it, pay 3 life, proliferate. Tap it, pay 4 life, draw a card. It's 5 mana to untap it. I don't see why this is so good, but I'm sure I'm missing it. I mean, I guess in life gain decks, it's not going to matter to pay 3 life and proliferate, pay 4 life and draw a card. You can 5 mana, untap it and do it again. Pay 2 life and mana in any color. I just think there's better ways to get all of those things done than sacrificing all that life, but I'm sure somebody's going to figure out a use for it. Filigree Silex is 2 mana. It's a legendary artifact. Put an oil counter on it by tapping it. So 2 mana, you tap it, you put an oil counter on it. Tap it, sacrifice it, destroy each downland permanent with mana value equal to the number of oil counters on it. Okay. Tap it, remove 10 oil counters from among permanents you control and sacrifice it. It deals 10 damage to any target. Oh, wow. Oil counter decks are going to have an instant win with the 10 damage. Any target means 10 damage to the opponent. You just got to get your opponent to 10, have 10 oil counters between everything you control, and you win the game. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be a staple in all the oil counter decks, let's be honest. You're going to proliferate with oil counters and just keep putting on all the oil counters to the moon, to the moon, to the moon, and then, oh, you're dead. Or get 2 of those out. You do 1, do -10, then the next one -10. You don't even have to attack. You just defend the whole game. Monument to Perfection. 2 mana for an artifact. This is all colorless. It's a rare. So 3 mana and tap it. You search your library for a basic, a sphere, or a locust land card. Reveal it. Put it in your hand, then shuffle. You can search for lands. That's fair enough. 3 mana without tapping. It becomes a 9/9 Phyrexian construct artifact creature, loses all abilities, and gains indestructible and toxic 9. Activate only if there are 9 or more lands with different names among them. Basic, sphere, and locust lands you control. Okay. This is an instant win at turn 9. But you have to have 9 different lands. Yeah, the concept is decent. It's never going to work. You're going to be dead before that point. There's no way we're making it to turn 9 with all this toxic. Graz, Unstoppable Juggernaut. 8 mana for a 7/5. Juggernauts you control attack each combat available. Juggernauts you control cannot be blocked by walls. Other creatures you control have base power and toughness 5/3 and are Juggernauts in addition to other creature types. They're trying to make Juggernauts thing. I don't think it's that good. Tablet of Completion. 2 mana for an artifact. Tap it, put an oil counter on it. Okay, so it's a mana stone. Tap it, add colorless mana. Activate only if it has 2 or more oil counters on it. It's okay. 2 mana and then you got to tap it twice. Or you got to proliferate and put some oil counters on it. 1 mana and tap it, draw a card. Activate only if it has 5 or more oil counters. It's decent. Takes a lot to get there, but I'm sure with all of the proliferation, these things are going to get to 5 mana counters really easy. Zenith Chronicler, it's 2 mana for a 3/1 artifact creature, Phyrexian Construct. Whenever a player casts their first multicolored spell each turn, each other player draws a card, so this is great for Commander, not so much for Standard. It's basic, 2 mana for a 3/1. Argentum Masticore, 5 mana. It's a 5 mana 5/5 artifact creature, Phyrexia Masticore. First strike, protection for multicolored. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice it unless you discard a card. When you discard a card this way, destroy target non-land permanent and opponent controls with mana value less than or equal to the mana value of the discarded card. This is really strong. You need to have a card drawing deck to constantly be able to discard, and it's not at the end of your turn, it's the beginning of your upkeep. So you need to have a card in your hand at the beginning of your upkeep. Not at the end. So you attack, you do your 5 damage, whatever. Beginning of your upkeep, you can discard something to destroy on target non-land permanent. This is literally a removal card every turn based on how you want it. Or you can discard a land and not remove anything. This is really strong. First strike, protection for multicolored, so Void Rend won't work on it. Can block any multicolored creature and take no damage. This is the first colorless creature I think could probably go in almost every deck. This is go in almost every deck that has card draw in it. And even if it does, if you don't have card draw, like you attack and you do whatever you have to, and you discard cards and you run out, and then it's gone. But it's going to do some damage while it's out there. That's a strong card. Mirian's Safe House, 3 mana for colorless artifact. As long as it's on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of all land cards in all graveyards. Interesting. I don't think it's going to be that useful, but somebody's going to figure out a way. I'm not going to waste my time on it. Soulless Jailer. 2 mana for a colorless artifact creature, Phyrexian Golem, that's a 0/4. Permanent cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield. Ooh. Players can't cast non-creature spells from graveyards or exile. Or exile? Players can't cast non-creature spells from graveyards or exile. What? It's a creature, so it dies to removal, but this literally shuts down all Reanimator decks, and it shuts down Exile. I don't know what deck you'd use this in, but this is the sideboard card you put in if self-milled decks and Reanimator decks become strong. All right, what do we got here? Atraxas Myriapod, 3 mana for a colorless artifact creature. It's a Phyrexian insect. It enters the battlefield with 3 oil counters at the beginning of combat on your turn. You may remove an oil counter from it. If you do, target creature you control gets Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, or Lifelink until end of turn. It's a creature that's a 2/2 for 3 mana, but it has oil counters and it can make itself or any other creatures Flying, Vigilant, Death Touch, or Lifelink. I don't think this is good. It's alright. It's not really going to get any play. Prosthetic Injector, 1 mana for artifact equipment. Equip creature gets +0/+2 and gets Toxic 1. Ooh, equip 1. This is actually good equipment because it gives a creature +2 and Toxic 1, +0/2 toughness. So it gives them a bigger booty. It's 1 mana to cast it, 1 mana to equip it. This is the kind of equipment that you get. It makes the creature dies a little harder, but it also has Toxic. That's going in a Toxic deck. Igerplate Golems, 3 mana for a 2/3 artifact creature that's a Phyrexian Golem. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, if it has 1 or more oil counters, put another oil counter on it. Creatures you control with oil counter get +1/+1. This is going to be a staple in the game. Every oil counter deck is going to have these. Every oil counter deck is going to need this. Absolutely. Skeletal Skiff, not skeletal. This is skeletal skiff. I don't know if or skeletal skiff. I don't know. 4 mana for an artifact vehicle that's got Toxic 2. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card, and it's got Crew 3. It's a vehicle, 4 mana, whatever. There's plenty of other ways to do Toxic. Mirror Comber, 2 mana for an artifact creature. It's a Phyrexian Mirror. It's got Toxic 1. It's a 2/1. Tap it, pay 2 life, add 1 mana of any color. So it can be a mana tap, and it's got Toxic. 2 mana for 2/1. It's not that good, though. There's so many other better creatures with Toxic out there. Dune Shifter, 2 mana for a 2/1 artifact Phyrexian Golem. It's got Toxic 1. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, shuffle your library, put the card on the top of your library. I don't think it's that great. Prophetic Prism, 2 mana for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card. 1 mana and tap it, add 1 mana of any color. 2 mana to draw a card, and then you can, in a pinch, get the mana you're missing. It's not the worst mana stone. It's not the best. Phyrexian Atlas, 3 colorless for an artifact. Tap it, add 1 mana. Now this is better. This is a mana stone. 3 mana, tap it, add 1 mana of any color. This is basically just like the Celtis, but it's not as good. But it's corrupted. Okay, so for Toxic decks, each opponent that has 3 or more poison counters loses 1 life. Oh man. So that's good for the Toxic decks, that's for sure. Mirror Mechanic, 4 mana. Artifact creature Mirror. When Mirror Mechanic enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a mirror card, reveal it, and put it in your hand and shuffle your library. Are there that many mirrors? 3/1, that's a shit card. That's absolutely useless. Mirror Custodian. Here we go. The mirrors. 3 mana. Artifact creature mirror. When it enters the battlefield, scry 2. Then each opponent may scry 2. May scry 1, sorry. It's 2/3 for 3. That scries. I mean, okay. Ballista Skull Bomb. This is 1 mana. Artifact. For 1 mana, sacrifice it, draw a card. 2 mana to draw a card, basically. 2 and a white. Sacrifice it. Target creature control gets +2/+2 and gains flying until the end of the turn. You draw a card. That's not bad. I don't know if it's going to get a place in many decks, but it's good for draft. Surgical Skull Bomb, 1 mana for an artifact. Sacrifice to draw a card, 1 for 1 mana. Again, 2 mana to draw a card is not bad. 2 and a blue, sacrifice it, return target creature to its owner's hand. Draw a card, draw Skull Bomb. These are all colorless that have specific color. This was the one for black, 1 mana, sacrifice it, draw a card. So they all have the same thing, 1 mana, sacrifice, draw a card, that's fine. 2 and a black, sacrifice it, return target creature from graveyard to your hand, draw a card, activate as a sorcery. So they're all basically the same, they just have different specials. This one is 1 mana and it's in the red. 1 mana and red, sacrifice it, put 2 oil counters on target artifact or creature you control, draw a card. So this is for the oil decks. This is probably the best one so far because on oil decks, you're going to love that. 2 oil counters on creature or artifact. Like, that's good. And what's the Maze Skull Bomb here? Its special is 2 and a green. Sacrifice it. Target creature gets +3/+3 and flying. Draw a card. That's pretty strong, but it's 3 mana. What are these sphere lands? Colorless, add 1 mana of any color, activate only if it entered the battlefield this turn. So it's just colorless. 3 mana and tap it, create a 1/1 colorless might with toxic. Oh, great. So lands can create mites too. Oh, great. Monumental Facade Land Sphere. It enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters. Remove an oil counter, put an oil counter on target artifact or creature you control, activate only as a sorcerer. The one that you lose the game if it's got no oil counters on it. Literally, you just load your deck with these and it goes from 4 to 6. It was a 6/6 flyer, if I remember, for 4 mana that did that. The Seed Core. It's a land, it's a sphere. Tap it for colorless mana, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this mana only to cast Phyrexian creature spells. So there's a lot of Phyrexian creatures. This one's going to be good. Corrupted. Tap it. Target 1/1 creature gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Activate only if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. Oh, wow. This is going to go with the mites. You can pick a mite to get +2/+1 after you've got 3 poison counters. This Mystical Garden Sphere. 1, tap it, add any mana of color. X plus tap, it becomes a copy of a target non-token artifact you control, the mana value X. That's not really that good. This is the one that's strong. This is really strong for all of the toxic decks that'll be out there. All right, so we got dual land. Dark Slick Shores, blue or black. There's battlefield tapped unless you control 2 or fewer land. 2 or fewer other lands. Oh, not 2 or more, 2 or fewer. All right, I like that. And these are going to be all the same. White, blue, 2 or fewer. These are all dual-sided. So these are all the same. Green, red, 2 or fewer. Black, red, 2 or fewer. White, green, 2 or fewer. Terramorphic Expanse is a land. Tap it, sacrifice it, search your library for a basic land, put it on the battlefield, tapped and shuffle. This is basically that's just a wild, basically. The Fair Ballista, and here's the battlefield tapped. Okay, so this is white. For 1 white and 1 regular mana, you tap it and sacrifice it and draw a card. A land that you can sacrifice to draw a card? That's pretty cool. That's interesting. These are interesting lands. Surgical Bay, Land Sphere. Here's the battlefield tapped. Tap it, add blue. Same thing. Okay, so these are all the same. These are all surgical stuff. Dross Pits, tap it, 2 mana, 1 black. Yeah, it's a black one, draw a card, sacrifice it. I mean, this is much better than the tap it and 4 lands, sacrifice and draw a card. Now it's tap it, 2 lands, sacrifice and draw a card. It's going to replace all those. And they're commons too. These are commons, folks. These are all common. These are going to go in every one of my decks. 2 or 3 of them. Because they're specific colors. They're not dual-sided, but they're specific colors. You can sacrifice them and draw a card. I mean, it's really good. And then these are just the basic. These are interesting looking. I like these. They're very, very spherical colors. And then these are the other lands. Okay. Showcase frames. These are all just the frames. I don't care about this shit. Jumpstart. Standard legal, not in main set. I'm tired of looking at cards, but I do have a final thing to say on this. So they're ruining the game again. So everything is toxic. The meta is going to change for the worse. You're going to see nothing but toxic and oil counter decks out there with a few of the old staples. But mono red is still going to be out there trying to smash. Mono red aggro just got stronger. Mono green Stompy is ridiculously strong now. Mono black got a couple of things, but for the most part, I think mono black is going to slide under mono green for the power structure. White did not get anything for the current meta. There is a card in there that gives double life. There's a Planeswalker, I believe it was, that gives double triggers, or creature that gives double triggers on white, so you can life gain twice for each time. There is that, but other than that, everything in white was toxic. Toxic mites, toxic mites, toxic mites. Very little in in white goes with what white is already doing. It's all new stuff. Selesnya, white and green is going to be the toxic strength. The power level in this set is 1.5 times the last set in Brothers War, and Brothers War was a step up. I still think Sheoldred will be the best creature out there after this. I don't think there's a creature that replaces Sheoldred as the most amazing value. 4 mana, 4/5 with Death Touch that gives you 2 life for every card drawn and takes 2 life from your opponent every card drawn. There's nothing that's as amazing as Sheoldred. There's a lot of really good Planeswalkers. It's going to be interesting to see the battle between control Planeswalker, Super Friend type deck, and all the toxic try and kill you with poison counter deck. The problem with the set is there's only one card that mitigates poison. It's a creature and it's in white green. That's a travesty. Get ready to put twice as much removal in every single one of your decks and get ready to basically go toxic or go home. That's my opinion. Go toxic or go home is basically what's going to happen. There's a lot more cheaper removal. Everything has power creep. You have 2 mana exile anything now. You have planeswalkers that can just exile creatures, destroy creatures. With the direction of the game is going, I think 50% of the meta will be cards from this set. 50% of all cards played in Standard will come from this set. That is how strong it is. That's my final word. Thank you, everybody. This has been an adventure. Phyrexia all will be one. Should be named Phyrexia Take It Up the Ass with the Toxic, because that's what it's going to be. Well, let's put it PC. Phyrexia Toxic, bro. Okay, that's PC. And don't call it complicated. That's a stupid name. You're flogging yourself. You're sacrificing 2 life instead of paying mana. But anyway, I appreciate everybody coming. I really do. It's amazing having a community that pays attention to the crazy thoughts in my head. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Have a great day. I'll see you again soon. Peace out.